two best teams in the league. These are two best quarterbacks in the league. There's a lot on the line Sunday afternoon.
These two are the best at their craft right now, and they're dueling it out.
This is the game of the year, man. Mahomes is king, and Allen is coming for it.
This game is very, very close to a playoff game, a Super Bowl, an AFC title. When these guys meet up, it's must watch.
And it's caught by Kelsey! Touchdown! Wow! These two are playing at such a high level. Patrick Mahomes with Mahomes magic. Oh my God! This is the most perfect quarterback play. Dive for it, takes the catch. Touchdown Buffalo! Touchdown! Kansas City!
It was 9 months ago that the Chiefs emerged victorious following one of the greatest football games ever played. 25 points were scored in the final 2 minutes before the Chiefs took care of business in overtime, defeating the Buffalo Bills. Now, all this time later, we're getting a rematch between the two best teams in the AFC. We are 2 hours from kickoff. You've waited all week for this very moment. It's finally here. It is time for football in Chiefs Kingdom. Let's do this. My name is Matt McMullen, joined by voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus. This is Field Pass, presented by StorageMart. And Mitch, it's not just Chiefs Kingdom or Bills Mafia. The whole football watching world has been counting down the days to this one.
Man, this is one of those games where you like a call for all volunteers, right? Of all the Chiefs Kingdom and all the Bills Mafia to congregate here. There are some games when the schedule comes out in the spring where you immediately, your eyes go to when is it? And that's this game. Highlighted, big font, circled, whatever. Yes, the whole world, the whole NFL world is centered here on this field today.
And both teams are feeling very good coming into this game. So the Bills, they blew out the Steelers last week, 38-3 at home. It was over in like the first 15 minutes in that game. And the Chiefs are also feeling good coming into this one after that awesome 17-point comeback win over the Raiders last week. It was an incredible comeback victory over a division rival. And for both teams to feel good coming into this game, that's what you want in big matchups like this. Both teams are 4-1, and whoever leaves the stadium with a victory tonight will have the best record in the AFC.
For sure, and this Buffalo team, I think, is better than the one the Chiefs played last year and in 2 years ago here in the AFC Championship game, and then that crazy COVID 4 o'clock afternoon game. But to me, this is spoiler alert here, but I want you to listen to the open of the radio broadcast, because to me this is Ted Lasso, Mad Men, Tiger King. This really has turned into a series that you would want to binge watch. And now it's like year 3, episode 1, what's going to happen? But that's what this series has become.
Yeah, really, over the last 2 years, it's become maybe the best rivalry in the NFL. It's Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen once again for the 5th time in their careers. And for more on the historical significance of this matchup, I caught up with NFL legend Peter King, one of the greatest sports writers of all time, earlier this week. All right, we're joined now by one of the greatest sports writers of all time. It's Peter King. And Peter, this is a special matchup for a lot of reasons. Of course, it's two of the best teams in football going at it, but it's also round 5 of Patrick Mahomes versus Josh Allen. And you've watched a lot of football, decades of football. I get the sense that this could be one of those matchups that we see over and over again that's kind of like a historical matchup, right? How special is it seeing Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen go at it once again?
You know, when I started covering the NFL in 1984, it was at the dawn of the careers of John Elway and Dan Marino. Joe Montana was the boss at that time. And it seems like every time one era of quarterbacks sort of expires, everybody always said, man, who's going to take over for Joe Montana, who's going to take over for Troy Aikman and Steve Young, and then Montana and Elway. I mean, what's going to happen to the game? And then, the same year that Joe Montana stopped playing, Tom Brady was drafted. And, Peyton Manning was already either in his prime or very close to being in his prime. So I think every era of football, because of the emphasis in high school and college on things like 7-on-7 summer practices and all the different things that quarterbacks do year round, it's fashionable to say, well, there never will be another one like Tom Brady. Why? It's like everybody said there'll never be another Michael Jordan. And then LeBron James came along. Nobody's going to be able to shoot it like Larry Bird. And then, Steph Curry came along. And I'm not saying that Curry's better than Bird or LeBron's better than Jordan, but they certainly are in the same league. And so it's the same thing I'm saying. I'm not saying Mahomes is going to go down in history as better than Manning or Brady, but I think the NFL right now is in very good hands for the long-term future with the number of really good young quarterbacks. And I think you're right. Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes lead the way. And although no one sat down in some deep, dark room in the NFL's Park Avenue offices in New York and nudged the schedule-making team and said, hey, let's just make sure that every year we gerrymander the schedule so that Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes meet. But the crazy thing is, this is going to be their fourth meeting at Arrowhead, basically in the last 2.5 years, or the last year and a half. And that's how odd the schedule has been. And of course, they're meeting again next year in Kansas City. One thing I would say that makes these two guys, that kind of gives them staying power. They're just like Brady and Manning were, in that both of them want to play for a long, long time. And both of them really respect the game. So I think they're going to be great headliners, for a long, long time, probably another 15 years each.
Yeah, I think when Patrick Mahomes first burst on the scene in 2018, everyone knew he would be one of the best quarterbacks in football for a long time. If he's Tom Brady, everyone was looking for his Peyton Manning. Who will his villain, his rival be throughout his career? We've been searching for that. I think it's safe to say, at least at this point, Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills could be that player in that team. Patrick Mahomes is 3-1 against Allen in his career, looking for a fourth win here in their fifth matchup. It would go a long way, I think, in setting the tone in the AFC moving forward. And just as a football fan, as a lifelong Kansas City, and you talk about all these historical quarterbacks, I'm just so glad that we have one, and Patrick Mahomes is our guy. Peter, awesome
You got
stuff,
one for sure.
we got one for sure. I really appreciate your time, Peter. Thanks so much.
My pleasure.
All right, great stuff there from Peter King. We're now joined by a very special guest. It's the head coach of the U.S. women's national soccer team, Vlatko Andonovski. How's it going, Coach?
Great, thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, so glad to have you here. Glad you're enjoying this, what should be an amazing game. You're a huge Chiefs fan, we understand it. There was a viral video of you last year when Travis Kelce caught the touchdown down there to beat the Bills in overtime. You're like in disbelief. You just can't believe it watching it. Why are you a Chiefs fan?
You know, I've been in Kansas City now for 22 years, and I don't know how you're not a Chiefs fan if you live in Kansas City. I mean, it's just a way of life. I mean, when you live in Kansas City, you are a Chiefs fan, you are a Royal fan. I mean, you're a fan of Kansas City.
It's so fantastic, Vlatko. I need to ask you, though, you played in Wichita when you were playing, and you played here. But when you became coach of the national team, you guys decided to stay here as a family. What about that decision? Why did you stay here, and what does the kingdom mean to you?
I mean, we love Kansas City. You know, we call Kansas City home. Our kids are born here, and we love everything about this town. And I said earlier, it's a way of life. Kansas City, the Kingdom, Chiefs, and all the sports teams are. You just live and breathe these teams. I enjoy it. I enjoy every part of it. I enjoy every bit of being a fan of Kansas City teams.
And something I think is cool is how Kansas City has really embraced soccer over the last several decades. It started with Lamar back in the 90s with the MLS and the Wizards. Kansas City has embraced Sporting KC over the last 15 years, and the Current now here in town over the last couple years. And they're building a stadium that will be the first ever stadium designed for a professional women's team. I think that's so cool. For you, you've gotten to know Kansas City over the last 3 decades. What's it mean to you that Kansas City is leading the way in all of this?
It's absolutely amazing. What soccer has done for and what these clubs have done for the community is amazing. I think that it's just nice to be a trendsetter in different ways, and the owners, the Longs, and and Brittany have done incredible job in leading the way, setting the trends, and just incredible that I can call myself Kansas City and with people like that around me.
And we're proud of you. No pressure on you to go win another World Cup, right? And you've got a member of the Current on your team right now, or on the national team, right? Does the national team know how crazy you are about the Chiefs?
I think they do, because
Okay.
I do wear my jersey when we're in the environment. I put the jersey on game day. I have to.
They're the ones that tweeted out that video, I think, last year of you just like watching it just like this. I love it.
I want to ask you a technical question, though, because you played, you coach, and I want to ask you how it relates to this game, because it's Harrison Butker. He has missed every game since the beginning with an ankle. His plant ankle is giving him a hard time. So I'm thinking of you trying a PK or a corner where you got to plan and get a drive. What's he facing today and trying to come back from that?
You know what? I have to say it takes a lot, and it's not just from the physical perspective or medical perspective, but also from mental perspective. Just knowing that you're coming back from injury, I can only imagine what he's going through. But we have no doubt in our minds that he's going to do it right for us.
And last question, Coach, and then we'll let you go. You're beating the drum here today. No pressure, just 76,000 people looking for your direction up there. How you feeling?
I'm a little bit nervous, but excited. I mean, who wouldn't be excited to be in front of so many people and leading the way of another victory for our team?
Yeah, well, we're so glad that you're here. Have a great time. Thanks for your time here
Thank you very
today.
much.
Bring us a win,
Thanks,
all right?
Coach.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll let you go. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And just think about what he has to face and the fact that, winning it in 15 and 19, and here it is getting ready for 23. It's like the pressure's on him.
Yeah.
But just how exciting it is to have that guy live here, want to live here, loves it here, and coaching the women's national team.
It's very cool. There's expectations for that team. There's also expectations for both of the teams on the field here today, and the Chiefs and the Bills. And let's dive into this game here. So it's obviously Patrick Mahomes against Josh Allen. We all know that, but let's focus on the offense against the defense here for a moment, starting with the Chiefs offense, the number one scoring offense in the NFL against this Bills defense, which is the number one scoring defense in the NFL. The Chiefs are scoring 31.8 points per game this year. It's best in the league. They also lead the NFL in total touchdowns and first downs. That's pretty good. Buffalo, meanwhile, is allowing just 12.2 points per game, tied for the best mark in the league. They have 11 takeaways this season. That's most in the NFL. And in their last 11 games, dating back to last year, they've allowed more than 21 points one time. Who was that team? It was the Kansas City Chiefs right here when we scored 42 points on them in that postseason game. So, Mitch, what makes this defense so good, and how can we find a similar result offensively like we saw last time?
Yeah, let me add just a couple more stats to that. They've only allowed 61 points in 5 games. That is the best since the 2000 Ravens. Okay,
it's pretty good defense.
Yeah, a little bit. And they've only allowed this Bills team 7 second-half points in 5 games. That's ridiculous. The Chiefs are averaging about 15, and Mahomes has been good in the second half, particularly the third quarter. But what makes it so good, to me, it is the depth that they have up front. They basically have, in my opinion, 9 starting players all on the defensive line. They can rotate those guys. Von Miller's having a phenomenal year, but he only has to play 60% of the time. They can pick and choose because they have so many guys. Greg Rousseau made an incredible interception right here off our right shoulder last year in the regular season. Boogie Basham, A.J. Epinesa, born in Lenexa, played at the University of Iowa. They have Shaq Lawson back. Jordan Phillips from Towanda, Kansas, is killing it inside. They just have so much depth, and they can get pressure. So these are my point. What makes them so good? They can get pressure without blitzing. They are the least blitzing team in the NFL, only 11% blitz rate, and yet they still get pressure. There have only been 3 teams in the next-gen stats area that have never blitzed in a game. It's the Bills 3 times, twice against the Chiefs, and once earlier this year against the Rams in the opening game, where they sacked Matthew Stafford 7 times and did not blitz 1 time. That's crazy in the NFL.
Yeah, you're right. They're a really impressive group, and you mentioned it, lowest blitz rate in the NFL. That's their bread and butter. They don't have to blitz. They get pressure with 4. In both matchups last year against the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes dropped back 116 times. He was blitzed 6 times. That was all in the playoff game. They didn't blitz him at all in the first matchup. So how do you combat that? It's the quick passing game, I think. Yeah. And that's been a theme of Field Pass all season long, I think, is the quick passing game and what it can do for this offense. And we've seen the Chiefs do it. Patrick Mahomes is getting rid of the football faster than he ever has in his career. His average time to throw is 2.67 seconds per dropback. And in the playoff game last year, he threw for 378 yards and 3 touchdowns. You're thinking he was chucking it down the field, right? Big plays the entire time. No, he didn't have a single pass of 20 or more air yards in that game. I think a similar recipe could work today.
Yeah, let's think about the stats that you gave and I tagged, and then let's put these together. In the fact that the Chiefs are number 1 right now in the National Football League in scoring offense, but they're doing it differently. And Patrick Mahomes, I'm super proud of him. He's hitting spots. Today, think about a pitcher that has got to hit the outside part of the strike zone. That's what Mahomes has to do today. The receivers have to be ready to catch at 8 to 10 to 12 yards and then be ready for a hit because the Bills take the ball away. They are tied for the league lead with 11 takeaways. They will get a lot of those, Matt, after a gain of 10 or more yards. So get open, get out quick, be accurate on the throw, but when you're there on the receiving end, understand your life is only beginning at that point.
And you can't turn the ball over because this Buffalo offense is really good, too. It's the number 2 scoring offense in the NFL behind only Kansas City. They've also racked up more total yards than any other team. Josh Allen at quarterback is, of course, the engine that makes this entire thing go. He's having a great season. He leads the NFL in passing yards, and he's second in passing touchdowns behind only our guy and Patrick Mahomes. We'll talk about Allen's running ability here in a minute because that's a big part of his game. But what stands out to you about this Bills passing attack?
Well, the fact that now they're launching it. When you look at they've had 53 possessions here, Matt. They have 35 points off drives or 4 plays or less. It's quick strike drives is what they call it. This is the quickest, strikingest team in the National Football League by far. Nobody's even close to these guys. Think about what they did to Pittsburgh, the 98-yard touchdown pass. The Bills have 6 40-yard receptions in 5 weeks. That's also crazy. Gabriel Davis. We know what Stephon Diggs can do. Isaiah McKenzie, if he's back, and then some of their younger guys. But what they're doing right now is launching the ball. They are a quick strike team.
They're the definition of a big play offense. Josh Allen has 14 passes of at least 25 or more yards this season. That's 3rd most in the NFL. They also have 11 touchdowns of double-digit yardage. That is most in the NFL. They're aggressive. They throw the ball on first down, the 2nd most of any team in the league, and they're averaging more than 6 yards on first down this year. It makes it very easy to play offense if you're getting so many yards on first down. So you have to disrupt their rhythm, right? You can't let these guys be a machine offensively and just humming down the field. You have to create problems for Josh Allen because when they're in sync, they're very difficult to beat.
And that's got to come from the front. You cannot rely on necessarily your linebackers or safeties, and the safeties have a ton of pressure today. Think about what Justin Reed's got to look at and what Juan Thornhill has to look at. And what they have to look at is not look at it too much. Like if your eyes deceive you in their RPO game, they're by you. And that's what's happened to the 5 opponents. Miami did a good job against them, but the safeties have a lot of pressure. So let's go back to why the Bills are so good. The Chiefs have improved their depth. Now, Turk Wharton is out, we know, and on IR, but the defensive front must be like the Bills front today, and that is be disruptive, not just getting pressure on Josh Allen, but even deflecting the physics of the throw, because the Bills are a rhythm team, but you get them out of rhythm, they struggle, and that's the Miami game.
Now, that defensive front also has to worry about his running ability at quarterback. Josh Allen has 225 rushing yards this year. That's 4th most among all quarterbacks. He has 35 rushes this year, 17 first downs. Only 1 time has he lost yardage as a runner, so he's very good in the running game. The good news for the Chiefs, we've seen him run a lot against us, but they have not seen Nick Bolton as the every down linebacker on this team, as the guy that's out there in dime. If Josh Allen sees Nick Bolton waiting for him, he might think twice before running.
Or if he does, he will feel Nick Bolton. Nick Bolton right now might be the best tackler in this league. So let's go through this. The defensive front has got to be the disruptive force of get him off rhythm. The linebackers have got to be concerned about the quarterback run game. Not only would Josh Allen lead the Bills, he leads the Bills in rushing, he would lead the Chiefs in rushing. He's got more rushing yards than Clyde Edwards-Helaire. The safeties have got to worry about the deep home run play, and the young corners have got to be on it, but the linebackers have got to play Josh Allen or the linebacker if the Chiefs are in one linebacker. It was right here. It was a year ago. I remember it. The Chiefs went to their 60-back look, one linebacker, and that was not Nick Bolton. And the Bills immediately went green light, green light, green light. We are going to run the ball every time, and it was 3 quarterback runs, and they were down there and scoring. in 5 plays. That can happen today. I don't think it will happen today because Nick Bolton will make you feel it if you try to run 3 times on him in a quarterback run game.
Yeah, he sure will. And let's be honest, these Bills offensively are a major challenge for any defense. But the good news for the Chiefs is they feel really good defensively coming into this game because of how Monday Night Football ended. The coaching staff trusted the defense on the field at the end of the game, and the defense came through and won the game. That says a lot about this team and their culture. You want to win games right now, obviously, but you also want to lay a framework and a foundation for what you're going to be as a team. The defense is feeling good coming into this one. Now we just need 4 quarters of it tonight.
Man, there's no instant oatmeal in the National Football League. There are no shortcuts. And last week when they ended the game, you're looking at Jalen Watson, Joshua Williams, young guys that will have to play today and play at a high level. But the fact that they ended that game, that wasn't Patrick Mahomes to Kelsey to walk off the game. That was the defense making enough plays at the end to walk in with a defensive victory, like a closer in baseball, close out the game. That has to do a lot for this young team defensively from a emotional standpoint and a confidence standpoint. They'll need all that today.
Well, think about Joshua Williams. He came in cold, essentially, on Devontae Adams at the end of the game when Daniel Carlson is one of the best kickers in the NFL. If they get to like the 45, he can probably kick that. No problem. They find a way to make a play, and the Chiefs win that game. So love how they're feeling defensively right now. They'll need to be good in the red zone today. And if we're being honest, the Chiefs' defense has struggled in the red zone this season. But the Bills' offense, as good as they are, they haven't been great in the red zone. They're only scoring touchdowns at a 55% clip this year. That's 20th in the NFL. When the Bills get in the red zone, if you can hold them to a field goal once or twice, that could be the difference in the game.
Both of these teams are looking somehow to steal a possession. We talked about the Bills taking it away. The Chiefs have not taken it away. That's going to be our thesis this next week. Hopefully they can get a takeaway today. And the Bills have turned it over 9 times. They've had red zone turnovers. Josh Allen's worst play of the year might be the pick he threw last week in that Pittsburgh game, which just was a deadly red zone interception. You're right. The Chiefs' defense has to either steal a couple possessions or do both, probably steal a couple possessions, but then also win a couple red zone possessions. Now, not to taken away 3s, not 7s. That could be the difference in this game. The margin should be slight.
And today really is all about seizing opportunities. Yep. That seems obvious in the NFL or in any sport, but today there's really no margin for error when these two teams play. They're both so good. I think these are the 2 best teams in the NFL. And whenever Josh Allen throws you the football or he fumbles or something happens, you have to seize that opportunity. We saw the one game that the Bills lost this year to the Miami Dolphins. That's what the Dolphins did. The Bills missed a field goal. The Dolphins went down, scored a touchdown. The Bills fumbled. The Dolphins went down and scored a touchdown. The Chiefs have got to make sure they take advantage of every opportunity here today.
Again, the 11 takeaways by the Bills jumps off the screen at you, but those 9 giveaways nobody's talked about. They're only +2 with 11 takeaways. That's odd.
Yeah.
And the fact that they've given it away 9 times. Going back and looking at Josh Allen, who's a great quarterback, I admire him, but you look at him book to book with Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen has 43 fumbles and has lost 16. He's fumbled 4 times this year, lost 1. He could have lost all 4 if you go back and look at him. Mahomes has 27 fumbles and has lost 10 in his career. Josh Allen, he's awesome. He's good. But this year he's got 4 interceptions, and he's also fumbled 4 times. There is an opportunity, as you mentioned, to seize that if you're the Chiefs defense. And again, just that margin, stealing a possession, stealing the ball, giving a short field to Mahomes could be the difference in this game.
Yeah, it won't be easy, but especially in the second half last week, the Chiefs seized every opportunity. Need a similar effort here today against these Bills. All right, Mitch, so we have the inactives for today's game. Let's go through these really fast. Not a lot of surprises or question marks coming into this one, but we'll go through it anyway. For the Chiefs, we knew this on Friday. Safety Brian Cook, he is out of this game with a concussion. Cornerback Rashad Fenton, he is out with a hamstring injury. And then defensive tackle Tershawn Wharton, he unfortunately tore his ACL last week against the Raiders. Real bummer for Turk. Looking forward to his comeback, but he's out for the season now. He was placed on injured reserve yesterday. Also a lot of questions about Trent McDuffie. So Trent is still on injured reserve. He did practice this past week. You're allowed to do that when you're coming back, but he is still on injured reserve. You won't see him on the inactives list, but he is not active here today. Hopefully Trent can get out there next week. But no Trent McDuffie here today. There is some good news in all three phases. So finally, Harrison Butker is back, kicking for the Chiefs here in this one. Harrison is back from that left ankle injury. On defense, Mike Dana is back after not playing since week 2. He was really good through the first 2 weeks of the season with 8 pressures. Mike Dana is back. And then Trey Smith at right guard, he's back as well. He had the pectoral injury that kept him out last week, but Trey Smith is back. So reinforcements in all three phases.
Yeah, and the defensive backs, think about it. You're down basically 3. That DiCaprio Boodle, former Nebraska Cornhusker, Zane Anderson, they were both elevated last night off the practice squad. Expected that. A guy like Deion Bush has got to play. I'm going to end my segment of this the way I began it. It's all volunteers. You got to find everybody you can find in this game, and it's going to be some maybe unlikely heroes for the Chiefs in the secondary.
Now let's look at the Bills quickly here. Fairly clean injury report for them. They're getting pretty healthy right now. 3 guys who didn't play last week are playing this week. Tight end Dawson Knox, cornerback Christian Binford, and linebacker Tremaine Edmonds. The one question mark was defensive tackle Jordan Phillips. He had a hamstring injury and was questionable coming in, limited all week. Looks like he is active in this game. So Jordan Phillips is active here for Buffalo. They've been pretty banged up in recent weeks, but as healthy as they can be, that's kind of what they are here today. No Micah Hyde, obviously. He's out for the season, got hurt a few weeks ago. And Tre'Davious White, he's not back for this game either, but pretty healthy. I do see Zach Moss at running back is inactive for the Bills here today.
I think that's more of a coach's decision. They got dudes there. They got enough guys there.
Yeah, so no Zach Moss, but otherwise they're pretty healthy here, it seems like.
Yeah, they got Dalvin Cook's brother. Remember him from Georgia's team last year, James Cook.
Had a big run last week.
Oh, boy, yeah, he's good. So they got depth there. Last week, to me, was a testimony of their depth. To be missing Dawson Knox, their tight end, to be missing Tremaine Edmonds, an impact linebacker, and the other guys that you mentioned, and still blow out Pittsburgh, just tells you how deep this Buffalo team is.
Yeah, they're very good. It'll be a challenge here today. It's going to feel like a playoff atmosphere, I think, even though it's not a playoff game. It's only week 6. But whoever wins this game, I think, can really set the tone moving forward in the AFC. Hopefully, it's Kansas City. We'll close our show with that, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. For Mitch Holthus, I'm Matt McMullen. Let's go get a victory.